And it looks like we are into the second game now, and it's going to be Securus, which is going to be an interesting game. Jinro deciding, choose that. Why do they keep making me host? That's so cute. I love being host, but I'm not allowed to be host.
So it looks like we are now going into the next game. It's going to be on Shakuras Plateau. Game 2.
You
Give
excited?
a cheer for Duckload and Liquid.Jinro. Two huge crowd favorites. Can Jinro come back to win it? He started off the day with a loss against Goody, but has been performing quite well since that time.
Does not want to lose this game.
Definitely
Does not want to lose this game.
And here we are. It has begun in the bottom right. The man who just did the amazing win with the giant monkey face at the start. We have the blue Protoss, Duckload.White-Ra. And in the bottom left, the man who just said good luck. The Swedish superstar Terran, Liquid.Jinro.
I'm going to do an impression for you, Sean.
I'm ready.
You ready for this impression? I want you to tell me who it is.
All right.
You might know him. So any of you guys that have been to Korea before, you may also know Jinro as a different type of soju. My favorite soju of all, the Soju Fresh Jinro. Who is that?
I don't know, is that my brother?
Yeah, man.
That is?
That's every time.
I won the prize! Yes!
Every time I've seen him commentate Jinro, he opens up with that every single time, as he does love that Jinro soju.
That was a very tough guess for me because a lot of times I watch the GSL muted. Ah, just kidding. I do love my brother and Artosis, my soul brother.
So we are going to see Barracks go down here. Will Jinro decide to go for that expansion play once again, or will he decide to add on that refinery so far? We'll have to see what both players do. And we are going to head and see White-Ra scouting after the gateway, not the pylon in this game, which is a little bit different from him.
It looks like the gas is going to be going down for Dr. Duckload. First SCV from Jinro moving out. Looks like no gas from Jinro. Might go for another early expand, but given this nice tight choke, he can easily defend it. With a small amount of bunkers, would be very surprised to see him do some sort of all-in, and I'm honestly quite surprised to see him performing in that way. We also see Liquid.Jinro going down to the bottom right. Both players will be able to spot each other early on, but Duckload is known for having a whole bunch of crazy strategies in his back pocket, especially given these close-by air spots. I would love to see White-Ra go for a very fast Warp Prism harass.
He's so renowned for using that over and over, especially in this matchup. If it's not DT drops, it's usually Zealot bombs into the mineral line. And looking over at Jinro's play that previous game, I kind of disagree with that style of that Marine SCV all-in. He should really play to his strengths, and that's not really a kind of build I'd like him to see. He should definitely be concentrating on mid-game pushes where I think his strength really lies in. But maybe he's not feeling too comfortable playing against a monster, the beast from the east, such as White-Ra.
White-Ra now finishing that first Zealot, going to be sending out a second Stalker. Really surprise us with an ultra-fast Warp Prism. Looks like that Stalker is coming out right now. It will get Chrono Boosted to pick off that one single SCV in the main. Jinro now going for the double refinery play. Will likely be transitioning into ultra-fast tanks. We have seen IM MVP very successful holding off tons of early pressure with that style of play. But once again, I'd like to emphasize that of all players you do not want to be doing some sort of thin defense against, it would be White-Ra, as he is incredibly aggressive. He loves Warp Prisms. I cannot say that enough. And we love to see him use Warp Prisms.
And second barracks going down for Jinro. Looks like the third one, third one is going to go down as well. While White-Ra is going to get his expansion up after that one gateway here. And if you think about Jinro, who he has to actually train and practice with, you have Huck, you also have OGSMC. So he should be pretty strong in this matchup with those kind of training partners. I think anybody would wish to have those as within your own team.
Interestingly, no very fast tech coming up by Jinro, which is odd to me. Look at his gas. He has over 200 gas in the bank. He's getting the fast stim, but unless he wants to get both combat shield and reactors and all the upgrades, I don't see a reason to be getting that really fast gas. Okay, well, he's just getting really fast reactor and all the upgrades.
He adds the reactor and the tech lab, and we'll be going for that combat shield quite shortly. And over at Duckload's base, or White-Ra, I should really call him, not Duckload now, is the 3 gateway has been added on. And robotics facility in the scan just in time is going to go ahead and see that robotics facility. White-Ra will want to go ahead and get an observer out, most likely two. One inside the production, well, inside the main base of Jinro, so you can see exactly the production, and then the other one to see the exact army composition and when that Jinro decides to push out.
So I'm very curious to see how White-Ra will continue off this robo. Will it be just for observers? Will it be to get, faster Colossi, faster Warp Prism? There's a lot of options that are possible. And only one I want to see, the Apollo. I just love Warp Prism so much that it would make my whole day if Duckload did it.
And Duckload, with these three Stalkers, should probably move them back now, as they could quite easily get sniped off now the shells have finished for these Marauders. Stim not too far away from finishing either, but he is going to decide to keep them there to get the exact timing of when these units do move down, or if they move down. And in the background, we do have a Ghost Academy being added on.
Wow.
So we're going to see some very early Ghosts and Marine Marauder play.
And it looks like it's going to be fast Colossus. Could potentially be a good position for Dr. Duckload, but this push is going to be coming quite soon. Liquid.Jinro has almost all the upgrades out, and this really is Jinro's strength. Good build preparation, and there the concussive shell picks off a Stalker, but I do like the Duckload.Ra whipped around and did shoot with the final breath of that Stalker just to do a little bit of damage since it was guaranteed to die.
And the Observer actually turned around. I'm watching it. He has no idea about these ghosts, and I'm not sure he will even go into it. Is he going to scout it now? Well, this Observer doesn't come in. I'm looking at the vision of White-Ra, and he does scout the Ghost Academy. He knows exactly what is going on. And he has enough sentries here to use force fields. He has the second Observer out now to go ahead and scout exactly where Jinro's army is.
So this is going to be a very fragile push by Jinro. He needs to get big EMPs off on those key sentries, but even then, Duckload doesn't really have that many units overall, and with the combat shield and stim being done, it looks like already throwing down two preemptively, and perfect EMPs by Jinro, taking down the two sentries, and looks like he will get another one. Only one sentry remains, but there's the stim, and Jinro looks like he might bust in for a very early win.
Wow, and I'm not sure what White-Ra can do here. These Marauders and Marines are going to town. Probes are being pulled off, try to get a surround behind them, but Jinro, great EMPs, completely dominating this style. The Colossus is out, but so many probes have gone down.
The Colossus trying to retreat. It does get to the high ground, and Duckload defends!
And if we look now at the probe count, how many probes did he actually lose there? He lost a lot. Oh my god, 15? That is a lot. But still, actually, Jinro does come in with a few more units. Shouldn't really be doing that. But if you look at the probe count versus SCV, 34 versus 41. And White-Ra using Chrono Boost on these Nexuses to get those probes back out to come back into this game.
Duckload now finally repelling everything that's there. Jinro, though, has gotten the chance to get up that key starport tech, adding on those extra barracks. A lot of Marines and Marauders still rallied to the front. Jinro feeling like he has a strong advantage. And he wants that Colossus so bad. And will he get it? No! Again, Duckload.Ra going to be in a good place to defend. And he will manage to maybe take it down. No! 8 health, 1 hit remains.
He really needed to get that because of the play style that Jinro went for with this early Ghost. He's kind of fallen a little bit behind with the factory, with the starport, as his gas was all put into the Ghost Academy. And now he needs to get Medivacs out first of all, obviously to heal his units, but that's going to delay the Viking count. So he might not even be able to get more than 2 Medivacs, and we'll have to go for the same style we saw before in the previous PVT, and he's going to have to switch over to Vikings ASAP, otherwise this Colossus count is just going to be too high. We have the third one in its making now as well.
Jinro, I'm a little surprised at a couple of small, sloppy mistakes that he is not characteristic of making. I don't know if it is jet lag or just discomfort with playing here, but as we go to the unit counting station, we see he only has 50 SCVs. And in fact, if we look at the units killed, look at that, 15 killed by Jinro, and yet he's only 7 workers ahead. He really should be 15 workers ahead. He has been missing workers throughout the start of the game despite that very early command center, and this is really going to hurt him in the later stages.
And White-Ra has 2 gateways just about to finish now, and it looks like he's going to go for this push, and this very well could kill Jinro. Great force fields, and now, especially as his money has been invested in this third command center, White-Ra could very well push from here as a pylon in the middle of the map and will be reinforcing with a lot of gateway units, and I don't think Jinro has enough.
Duckload now beginning to swing forward with a lot of gateway units. Duckload.Ra, who has been dominating nearly everyone in his group, extremely resilient, knows how to hold on, go to those early pushes. Now moving in with his 3 Colossi, only 2 Vikings out, 1 getting taken out, and oh my goodness, will Duckload be able to win with this push?
Oh, SCVs are being pulled off, and I don't think Jinro can hold more. Stalker reinforcements coming in. A nice... Oh, no, there's no... Oh, all the units have gone for Jinro, and Stalker's sentries are clearing this up. And it looks like Jinro might be...
And there's the good game. Duckload.Ra amazingly holds that early Marine Marauder Ghost push. I was convinced that White-Ra was going to go down, but no, held on, barely kept that Colossus alive like 4 or 5 times, and then just waited till he had the key 3 Colossi and did the counter push. That is really becoming popular in the matchup. The early 3 Colossi, and we see that you don't really have enough Vikings up, and due to all those Marines and Marauders being lost after that early push, White-Ra was able to take the win.
I mean, as soon as White-Ra identified the Ghost Academy and that push was coming, the split of units was insane. He moved them out, he spread the sentries out so each EMP could only hit 1 sentry. And unfortunately, even though he had these great EMPs, could not do enough damage. And losing 15 probes, a big problem there for Jinro is that he didn't keep up with that SCV count and fell behind. And then because of that failed attack, just didn't do enough damage. He fell behind in his tech and, like we saw, did not have enough Medivacs or Vikings out there.
I mean, that's one huge problem with doing any sort of really scary early push. If it doesn't do key damage, suddenly all your later timings are thrown off. I mean, you look at the way Bomber played, and he just didn't do anything at the start of the game, and then suddenly his drops were coming earlier, his big attacks were coming earlier, his upgrades and expansions were coming earlier, and at every stage in the game, the Protoss was feeling behind, but I mean, White-Ra with a strong counter push. White-Ra, I believe, might even be 3-0 in his group at this point.
Wow. And that's quite dominant, actually. And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, he's definitely beaten at least 1 other player, and now having taken down Jinro, that is 2 wins under his belt. And essentially, he's going to be looking very strong going in against Prady.
Yeah, and we're going to be going into that game very shortly, just finding out if the players are taking a break, if not. But White-Ra versus Prady next. Prady hasn't really been up there recently. We haven't really seen his name in the lights or anything. And playing against somebody as dominant and as fearsome as White-Ra is going to be quite a hard game for him.
Yeah, and now when I used to watch a lot of Prady's games, he was doing a big mech style of play, especially one of the first players to do a lot of tank Hellion style. And I'm curious, is he still using that, or has he transitioned back to the more typical Marine Marauder style?
We'll have to find out soon enough. I mean, I have not seen Prady for a long time, actually. I remember seeing him a lot in the early stages of the game and also in the beta. It was quite a dominant Terran, getting a lot of decent results in online cups, but have not seen him up there for a while.
Yeah, and it looks like White-Ra is currently ranked #1 in his group, and I know a lot of people love to see White-Ra do well at these tournaments. So whatever you do, don't go anywhere. We'll be doing White-Ra versus Prady after this short break. I am Day9 from Day9 TV.
Sorry, I didn't know you were going to do that. And I am D